to Nexus Wormhole.
You are in the Nexus Wormhole with your host, Sonic Rascal. All right, guys, welcome back to another Nexus Wormhole episode. We're going to be discussing everything from mask orders, hormones, UFOs, rolling with that app, Vanilla Ice, and the millennial gap.
Millennial gap.
The millennial gap. Once again, I'm with my co-host, Leche de Mono. How are you, Leche? What's going on with the monkeys out there?
Better than ever. The mad monkeys on the loose.
Tell you what, you're right about that.
Madder than ever. I think we should, we might as well get right to it with the millennials. Or not the millennials per se, because
right.
I think that whole, I think there's definitely a generational gap. There's always going to be a generational gap.
Yeah.
Growing up, you never can relate to, what other people lived through in their generation. But there is definitely a degradation per generation. I think it does get worse. I don't think it gets better. I mean, I think you see it. I think we went through this whole curve of Stone Age, the Age of Fire, the dawn of man, the reasoning, Renaissance. These moments of great ideas and innovation, self-reliance, man's independence, the machine, the industrial revolution, all these great things. We were evolved to a certain period where I think up to that moment, we were fundamentally relying on our own intellect. And then introduce the machine.
Right.
And then starts at the very, very, maybe the tip and end of the Industrial Revolution, we start seeing slowly certain jobs start disappearing, new jobs start appearing. But with that comes the reliance on the machine. And I believe that right then and there, that one pinnacle moment, can't surely precisely put my finger on it. That's when we start relying on things rather than making them. And then comes mankind's slow degradation.
I think you're absolutely right about that. You use technology to better your life, to better your future, to create more time for the arts and music, to make people live longer, to make people live more comfortable. But then comes, in this century, at the end, right now, these last couple of years, let's take cell phones, where people don't even look at each other anymore. They don't know what they're talking about. They send text that, instead of, I would even think video might be better than just texting somebody. Because in a video conference, you can at least see their face, like, how you doing? I'm great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They might mean they're great, but they're throwing up on the side, and you can see that they're not great. But what I'm saying is, it's very strange to, let's say, go back 30 years and have people talking to you but not really looking at you, looking at their phone, and then doing two things at the same time and trying to let you know that they want you to do something for them, but at the same time writing 3 other people and texting them. And it's like, well, which one are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on? How is that going to affect anything in the future? I don't think the military does that. I hope not. And I think other places should start focusing more and being direct with somebody. Maybe also start looking at somebody's eyeballs and saying, hey, how are you? How's it going? Put the phone down, buddy. Put the phone down. I don't know what to tell you. It's
Well, people are walking around with these big fucking mental spasms in their head. They're trying to talk to you.
Right.
Then they look like then the phone buzzes. They got a text while they're in the middle of a sentence with you. Then all of a sudden they start chewing and biting their tongue. Then all of a sudden they start cramping. They have a mental cramp. They
Right.
can't answer you. They can't answer them. Then they're caught in the middle of some weird mental spasm attack.
Sure.
And then because that's what it sounds like. Like they can't answer, they can't talk, then it's rude. I mean, what happened to out, you know, I come from a generation, and maybe the last generation, that literally when you went to eat at the table, nobody answered the phone.
Right.
It was dinner time.
Right. It was a no-no.
You were gonna eat. I don't care if you had a big family or you had a small family. That phone rang, nobody picked it up.
No.
Because eating was a sacred time.
Right.
Now everybody is down. It's so bad that I don't even think people allow their brain and their body to make the nutritional connection of what they're putting in their body with that moment of eating and letting the body rest and letting the body enjoy itself and replenish, because they're so caught up looking at shit on the phone. They don't even remember eating.
No, it's, how's your mac and cheese, Tammy? Oh, no, I'm in StarCraft. I'm level 2. Level 2, mama. Let me tell you something. Level 2 ain't going to get you nowhere, buddy. It's weird, man. I don't know what to tell you. I think it has to do with this idea that technology is going to make everything better. And actually what it does is isolates you more, even inside your own home. If you don't have some kind of flow to your home, some kind of rule, some kind of, I respect. I really don't know. It depends on everyone out there who has their own thing going on. But I'm telling you, I just think it's easier to talk to people and when you see them moving their face or actually twitching than texting and none of it makes sense to me. It's a big crazy jump, and I'd like to see how they're going to handle it in the future. But moving on with that, we got some mask orders. Indiana, looks like they're going to make you wear a mask or you got to pay a huge fine. How do you feel about that, Leche?
Pay the fine. I don't think anybody really knows what the fuck is going on.
What is going on? That's a great question.
I don't think anybody knows what's really going on. I mean, everybody right now is completely in panic mode.
I think so. I think you're right.
Everybody's dying for that second wave to hit because we're still in the first wave, and they think that whatever, look, everything America did to handle this thing was wrong.
You got it.
They did nothing right. Whether I'm one of those skeptical, conspiracy. I see through. I see through things from a different point of view. So for me, this whole COVID situation, I've said it before in the podcast, comes with a lot of ulterior motives to me, right? But without breaking from the question of the masks, we handled the situation wrong in America. So
yeah,
now,
I think so.
Now, everybody is retreating, and now they're trying to retreat, and they're trying to put Band-Aids on,
right,
to make things better for something that they never handled to begin with. How do you put fire out pouring gasoline on it?
Well, that's funny you say that because I was reading about Japan today. The way they handle it, they seem to have very, like, 2 cases maybe in the whole country. They wore the mask, they kept to themselves, they washed their hands. Pretty much it's been eradicated. And you look at America and everybody gets lost with this idea of freedom. I have the right not to wear a mask in the store. Don't tell me to do it. And then other people are like, you know, how dare you not wear a mask? And it all comes down to, you know, growing your crops with Gatorade. It's just, there's no common sense left. I think that finding somebody for not wearing a mask, $1,000, whatever it is, good luck with that. With people
It's a
right now,
money-making scheme. They're gonna love it.
they're gonna love it. Every state's gonna be different, and like you said, America, it's a lack of leadership. I think Ronald McDonald just put one on the other day, and he
Oh
hasn't.
yeah.
And it's like, listen,
And he
so
did
good.
it for the numbers. He did it for
That's
the polls to go up because he realizes,
right.
you know, if he doesn't wear one, um, it's going to hurt his numbers. Well, the people, the what do you call it? The people's white knight, Joe Biden, sleeping in the corner over there, making, bringing his numbers up. So yeah, he's going to put the mask on to say, yeah, I'll wear one. To everything, to make everything politically correct.
Yeah, it's absolutely right about that. And like I said, this again, out of 300 and whatever, 20 or 50 or 30 million Americans, you have two choices. You have Ronald McDonald, who is a billionaire and, fires everybody. And you have Biden, who is political, a political person, has been in Congress for all his life, probably has dementia, and everybody's telling him what to do. Because how come he didn't run last time? I think right now they're just pushing it into him. You're going to be a great president, Joe. Am I? Yeah.
Does it
That's
really
right.
matter? They dress him, they feed him, they put him out the door, they wind him up, and then they bring him back home and they put him back in his fucking coffin where he sleeps.
Kind of like that. Ready? I gotta pee. Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
What?
Something.
Thank you so much. All right, let me close it. I'm gonna take 1 second here. 1 second. Yeah, man, I think it all comes down to just biding time. Biding time.
Biding time. But this it really is. It's just a question of when he's gonna, this guy's gonna croak. He'll probably, who knows? Maybe maybe he'll make it all the way to the last debate, and right then and there, when America's popping and everybody's singing the songs of old, the old gizzard finally pops and passes out. I mean, he's right up there.
It's crazy, man. I mean, I don't even know if he's healthy enough to be president. I don't even know if, and talking about that, it's what's going to happen. I mean, these stimulus checks are eventually going to be slowed down or actually stopped. You go to the stores, they don't have coins for you. They don't have change. I saw a couple of people the other day at a drugstore, and the lady's telling them, I can't give you back your 50 cents. And you have an old timer going, but I got to get the Baby Ruth. It's got to get the Baby Ruth. And the lady's trying to tell him, you don't have a chip. We're talking about that before the podcast. Got to use the chip.
I'm telling you, I saw it firsthand. I was there.
It's so
illegal. Look, mandating masks in states is going to be creating
insane
animosity between the citizens. If this whole Black Lives Matter thing blew up the way it did, this thing, which is going to be infringing upon the liberties of American citizens, is going to create a problem. There's going to be a big topic. And ultimately, do I agree with, should you wear a mask? And I mean, should masks be mandated? The answer is no, I don't agree with it. Because if I want to walk around with underwear on my head and that's my mask, let me be. Right. I mean, that's okay. And this is the thing. There's a couple of things to analyze here. One is, again, we're slowly ripping away the layers of freedom that the American public have. They're stripping them away little by little. The other day at an undisclosed location, I was there. I was, doing some shopping. And I went to pay cash. And the lady said, your cash is no good here. I said, what do you mean, ma'am? You can't pay cash. Well, I don't understand. All I have is cash. She says, go, you're going to have to go across the street to the bank or something. He goes, well, we take his chip.
Straight chip, microchip, not chocolate chip. That's the same thing I heard. You know, there's no Chips Ahoy here, buddy. Go across the street, and then you go to the bank. And you know what's funny? I had to do that about 2 weeks ago. I went to the bank. You know what the bank said? Please call this number. You're locked out. Only by appointment can you get. If not, use the chip.
You can't get your money. You can't use paper money.
No.
And it's in the directions that the country is starting to show is paper money is going to become obsolete.
Yeah, it's scary.
You have to wear masks.
Yeah.
You have to do this. You have to do that. Before you know it, you don't have liberties anymore. You have to do, and that's what you have to do. And that's going to be the problem. And that's when you're going to start seeing a lot of uprisings, a lot of people, you know, Americans love their guns. Let me tell you something. Anytime they can bring it to the gun show, they will. And this is going to be a reason to take out the shotguns and take out the A.K.A.s and take out the Glocks and go show them off, because the mindset is always of don't trample over my rights. And that's going to be a big issue.
Yeah, it's going to be very weird. I think we're heading to a crazy situation where you have huge unemployment. You have radical young groups using race to set an agenda, whether it's Marxism or Maoist, kind of agenda where they want to change certain things in government. And then you have people that are all about freedom, that are not going to wear the masks, and they love the Second Amendment, and they're going to arm up, and they're looking ready to become Bruce Willis at any time. You have a bunch of, kids right now on hormones that want to become men or women, and they still don't understand that they might change their mind eventually. Maybe you should wait till you're older, whatever. It's your right, you want to do it. It's going to be some kind of Mad Max mutation movie. Like, Max America, straight Max America, where I just see complete craziness, whether Trump gets reelected or Biden. It's going to be nuts, man. The unemployment, the new laws, because it'd be one thing, and this is my opinion, if they told you, listen, wear a mask if you go into a store because it's elderly and they're getting affected by this, whatever. If you wanted to wear one, that's your thing. If not, the store can tell you to do it or not. The store has a right to defend itself if it wants. But then you have all these other things, like, I don't know if you've read about what's going on in Portland, where they were sending pretty much, National Reserve to pick up all these protesters that have been burning down federal buildings. And the mayor of Portland is very liberal. And he was like, yeah, guys, I support your protest, this and that. And then you have the executive branch sending all these Federal Reserve and picking up these kids and calling them, terrorists. So they don't have any rights to get out. I don't know what they're going to do. Then you have moms. Have you read about this? All these moms dressed up. They went forward. No. Google it. Yeah, there's all these moms that are helping out their kids, and they're all dressed up like, I don't know, protest moms or something, and they look like, it's absolutely crazy, man. It is Gatorade to grow corn. Pretty much
What's
that.
Dressing like?
Yeah, I mean.
What are they dressing up like?
They're not even dressing up, brother. They I don't even know. I looked at the article very quickly. It's moms that are holding each other hands. They look like church ladies wearing yellow shirts. And, I bake cookies, please don't hurt me. One of those crazy, don't hurt my kid. And they were getting tear gassed, or maybe not. It's the heaviest thing I've ever seen. And, yeah, I'm just glad I'm not in Portland tonight. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, it's going to be Max America. I'm telling you, man. And, you're going to have, I predict that some of these kids on hormones, they're like 14 or 15, and the parents are like, yeah, you can turn into a boy. or you can turn into a woman. Look, I have no problem. If you're 18 and you think you're stuck in the body of a man and you want to become a woman, go for it. But I think when you're a teenager or when you're younger, you don't know what the hell is going on. All right. I think it's almost child abuse to a certain degree. I really do, because your parents are supposed to provide you stability, not with hormones. I don't get that. That's a whole different topic. So I predict, in 15 years when these kids grow up, Mom, you should have stopped me. I didn't want to become Brutus. I was Barbara, Mom. I was Barbara. Yeah, it's gonna be, it's absolutely insane. And people that talk about this, celebrities, are getting, smacked. Like J.K. Rowling, who did the Harry Potter series, she had enough sense to say, it's just a little bit crazy. Look at the studies. There's been some studies published, and it's nuts, man. Max America, I'm telling you. And a brighter note, Dave Franco, who's an actor, he's one of the Franco brothers. One of the other Franco. What's the famous one?
Yeah, James. James, the one that was hiring all those fucking girls to come by and give him hand jobs and blow jobs, and he promised them a partner movie.
His brother's gonna be Ice Baby, straight vanilla.
Man. Oh yeah, bring it back.
That's
Can't go wrong. Just the way Marky Mark made his debut in Boogie Nights. This is his big old thing, boy. This is gonna be his big old thing.
Calvin Klein all the way. I'll tell you what. I saw some of that underwear after Marky Mark did it. I said, I'm gonna go get some Hanes. Michael Jordan wears Hanes. Sorry, Marky. I'm pulling out of that freaking travesty. Feel the vibrations. Feel it.
Send the vibrations.
Send the vibrations.
Bro, I think honestly
it's insane.
There's a ticking time bomb right now in America. I think for the world, I think it's a different place. I think the world's a lot older outside of the United States. I always say United States is the youngest.
Yeah,
it's a young nation.
300 years, nothing.
America has a very, very short history with a lot that's happened in that history, but short in comparison to a lot of these other countries.
Empires,
base and empires and such, right?
Yeah, Egypt or Rome or even the Turks or even the Phoenicians, whatever, any kind of timeline you look at, even the British. Anyway, go ahead.
But what makes some of these other countries so dominant in the face of adversity, in the face of certain problems, is the experience.
Right.
These people have lived in other countries. They've lived real bad times. They've learned to deal with those moments. They're equipped.
Right.
The United States of America hasn't faced that yet. Aside from the Great Depression,
right?
And we have the Civil War,
right?
And talking the turmoil in America,
right?
There's two that come to mind. I'm sure there's a bunch of others. Don't get me wrong now, but two of the biggest stains in American history are the Civil War to me, and definitely the Great Depression. Those are moments of suffering, right?
Big suffering.
But aside from that, this country has a lot to live. There's still a lot of living, and there's a lot of experience that this country hasn't received yet. They haven't gotten to yet. I think they're still the arrogant teenager of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're very young. I think you have a point there. I think that generation from the Depression has been forgotten. World War II veterans are already leaving, and they're passing away with the lessons that they learned. And we are a spoiled country. People just want to go take pills, and they want to get fixed right away. They don't understand why they're entitled to this, they're entitled to that. And I see it in the system every day, and I see the medical system saying, well, we'll charge you. We don't care. We'll do it. Who cares about this? Who cares about that? And older people say, damn right. And then, you go to any other country, third world country, there's none of that. I think it's about balance, and the balance has been completely lost in corruption. And it goes from the top. I mean, a lot of things could have been prevented. And like I said, New Zealand, other countries, people say, but they're not as big, blah, 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 blah. It's got nothing to do with being big. It has to do with being disciplined and being respectful. And if, like I said, if we had better leadership, we might be looking at something else. But I really think what's going to hurt this country is going to be the depression that's coming. I don't see any way out of this. COVID may eventually go away. They'll make a vaccine. They'll try it out on guinea pigs. You'll come out with 3 arms if you're stupid enough to take it early. If it's mandated, I'm out of here. I don't even freaking stick around, because that's one thing. They'll start with the masks, and then when some crazy experimental vaccine comes out, your kids can't go to school without it.
That's it. It's the perfect setup. You can't work without it. You can't go step into a place without it.
No.
You better get it.
And you got to get the app so we know who you are, and you got to pay with the app now, because we don't got no money in cash. We don't want paper.
They don't want to use cash anymore.
So we're going to roll.
They're adopting to those. They're adopting to this. Everything goes back to what we first started with, this whole dependency on technology. But that is really
what's going to destroy everybody.
The phone that you carry in your pocket is your identification card. And
it's not your friend.
No idea. These people buy a phone, and the first thing they do, they slobber over the phone. First of all, they drool over it. They get all, there's level of ecstasy. I mean, it's like a drug.
It's an iPhone 28. Look, it turns purple. I kid you not.
Oh yeah, but you know what they do? The first thing they do, they open it up.
Yeah. Massage.
And that beautiful, that gleaming, that glare, that feeling of the new device. And you go to turn it on, and the device looks at you in the eyes and it says, "Not yet, little buddy. Give me your fingerprints."
No, man. It's like, you ever see Wall-E, that Disney movie?
Oh, yeah.
That's where we're heading. We're going to be straight chubs, and we're going to be like sitting on a space cruise, not knowing where the hell we're going. Robots are going to come down, and then that's it.
I think a lot of people in America would sign up to that.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me?
Like right now, I'll be like, yes, I want to be part of the Wall-E ship. I want to go.
Listen, the best reporting I've read, the best article, which I forgot the name of it, but I skimmed through it, and I don't know who wrote it, but paraphrasing, the end of the American buffet. It's tragic. Some people are hurting, man. I don't know. This is crazy stuff going on. But all I'm saying is, you roll with those apps in the future. They're going to come out with some new apps. You know, your buddy Kobe. Did you take the shot? Doesn't say you didn't hit yes. You can't get into the. Can you get gas?
It's a brave new world. I mean,
pretty much. That's what it is. I kid you not.
China has already adopted to a system of one app to rule them all, right? They got one app that everybody uses. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called like Lucky Me. I don't know what they call it.
Saruman Shanghai. One ring to bind them all.
They wake up in the morning. They turn the little app on. The app shoots some kind of laser on them. They face recognize you right away. Oh, look, they know, there's Lao Ming. Lao Ming is going outside. Hey, Lao Ming, you have this much in your bank. You've been behaving very well. We're going to give you a little extra today.
Yeah, you get 5 points. Go get a cookie.
Right. Then you go to the supermarket, and Lao Ming, he decided he wanted to get a 6-pack of beer. Ooh, not good. All of a sudden, the funds start dipping down.
Yeah.
They're gonna show that to you, and a machine, an app, voluntarily signed up by these people in China, and I'm sure it's slowly spreading throughout the world. These people are voluntarily signing up to give themselves
their freedoms away. Yeah.
Over there.
Right.
There's people that can't travel outside of China because of their credit.
Man, you should see, there was a video that came out on the BBC, I think, and it was a British broadcaster talking to an ambassador of China. Literally, you can Google this. And they literally had video of, there's Muslims and Chinese Muslims. Did you see that?
The Turks.
They put them on trains. They shave their heads and send them to camps. And the guy's like, little paraphrasing. And they're showing the video, the trains, and out there in the landscape, and he's like, look at the mountains. They're beautiful. Look at this beautiful. No, they're saying, no, we're talking about the people. Look, no, look at the tree. You know,
They
absolutely.
don't even recognize those people as living.
No.
They think they're animals.
That's nuts,
And
man.
they are this Chinese people that are descendants from the Gypsies, the Turks, and the Muslims that migrated to that region, borderline frontier region in China. And the Chinese people have basically locked them out of China.
Yeah, millions.
They've locked them out. They don't recognize them as people.
Well, the ones in China, they sent them to concentration camps, man. Somewhere in China. I don't know. It's like millions of them. I kid you not. And Chinese officials are buying a lot of, you know, help in Europe. They're buying a lot of minerals and all kinds of, you know, resources around the world and making contracts. And we're sitting here wondering if Ronald McDonald can be biding time. I kid you not. It's absolutely. They're 5 years ahead of us, I'm pretty sure, in a lot of AI.
Oh, yeah.
AI technology. And let me tell you, man, they don't take no for an answer.
But the problem with their AI capacities right now is
retarded AI. I don't think it's going to be as advanced as America's, but it's catching up, man. But, you know, I don't know.
Well, China sets a pressure on themselves to be better than everybody else.
I know.
And in many ways they are, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But there's always that, it's like the Icarus story, you know, you grew so big, you thought you were better than all, and you thought you could touch the sun with waxed wings. You know what I mean?
Quality. No, you need to build something better than that.
That's why you get half the shit that comes from over there doesn't work.
Especially if you don't pay a price for it. Yeah, if you think you're getting some kind of awesome gadget, it'll last you 3 days, and you're like, well, what happened? Well, it was cheap plastic or cheap screws, or it worked great, looked really cool, but hey, is it going to last? Probably not. That's the problem with.
But you know what's amazing with China? It's a strange story. It's a funny story. We made them.
Of course. Yeah.
We made them the way who they are.
Yeah, Ron Nixon.
What they did is we sent them the prototypes of the computer we wanted built. And they looked at it and they said, oh yeah, I can build it. I can build. And they started building the shit. Then they start talking amongst each other and they say, I made some computer for me. Make a bootleg computer. Then they got then before you know it, they're building a whole other computer based on the same plans. These people are the bootleggers of the world.
Yeah. They steal everything, man. Did you read about Texas?
That's everything. Everything they make is a knockoff what we have or other people have submitted to them, a plan. And in the process, they created their economy.
Right.
Based on that.
Yeah, they manipulate your currency too. That's always. But listen, man, I bet you nobody really said much about this. I bet you didn't even know in Texas, in Houston, the Chinese consulate was shut down. Did you read? You can Google it.
No problem. Sure. Right now, there's so much animosity with China.
It happened this week. Okay, I just got lucky because I usually get a lot of feed from Asia because I've been over there before. Mm-hmm. And I get this crazy that it wasn't really, I didn't see it making really big waves here in the States. Chinese consulate shut down at 72 hours to get out. And nobody says why. I think it was, one of these head, government guys saying that, I think his name's Pompeo or something like that. One of those big head guys saying that they're stealing, and of course they're Chinese.
Yes, he's that fucking guy. I've seen that big potato head of his. I've seen him.
Anyway, so the funny part is they're showing this, and all you see is I think a chopper was flying, and somebody called in a fire. They're burning all their documents on the roof, and it's a huge fire. Somebody reported it because they got nothing to hide. Usually you shred your documents. You don't care if you're,
burn them, boy.
If you're in Germany or something, maybe, but they were literally, you're not gonna you're not gonna put this back together again. It's
Nope.
completely illegal, just on top of the roof. That's funny.
And do they think they
Google.
care? No. What were they? Who knows what they were stealing?
I know.
Who
That's why
knows
I was
what they
laughing.
had? Who knows what they were using? But at the end of the day, they took the American tech, they took European tech, they took all kinds of tech from everybody else,
Yeah, still.
and they perfected their own art. And what have they done? They tapped on the AI, and now they're using AI, which is not a perfected system by any means.
Right.
And they have signed up, aside from the Muslims they don't recognize as being real, normal human beings, everybody else in China is hooked up to the AI app.
Right.
The only people that don't get that app are those Muslims, which is so wrong. But at the same time, good for them, because they could actually be free of all that stuff. But these people,
I don't know, man. I would, if I was a Muslim in China, I would just try to swim across any other country because they're not tolerant at all. Look at Hong Kong. Anyone that's staying in Hong Kong, they're out of their minds. The British have left in the 90s. Whatever freedom you had, they're going to try, the mainland's going to try to use that market, try to control it, trying to push their agenda. Good luck. All these artificial islands they're building in the South China Sea, trying to take over, trying to tell America and Philippines and Japan, you can't swim around here. This is ours now. We're going to use the law, maritime law, that if we are on an island, you have to be this certain amount of miles away. You can't come close to us or we'll show you. It's absolutely nuts. They're crazy, man. And we're just sitting here talking about Ronald McDonald biding time over and over.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yeah, well.
They're already here, man. Look at the masks. Look at the medicine. I mean, where's everything made? If I pick up a bunch of stuff here, 90% is made in China, whether I like it or not, even if it's better quality. Pakistan, maybe Japan, probably China. I don't know. So we're screwed.
Pretty much. Once they cut off, they cut us off the meal ticket. That's going to be part of that's part of the rude awakening. And it's going to be, eventually, it'll be a matter of time before enough smack is talked about. And listen, Trump all day long, all he does is talk smack on China. Calls it the Chinese virus.
Oh, man. I remember when Trump
come on.
Did you ever see Trump in WWF when they're in the Wrestling Federation?
Gosh.
With hats off.
I remember that mess.
I'm gonna be right here with the Undertaker, everybody. He's my man. Yeah. You're fired. Everyone's fired. And the Undertaker is, I don't know.
Bro, come on. It's an American success story.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Give me a break.
Well, we're gonna try to focus more on UFOs maybe in the next couple of episodes, because I don't know if you read the New York Times. They had an article, I don't know, it was this week, that they are actually convinced, and the military also knows, that some of the material and some of these things that have been caught are not from this world. Did you see the Navy pilot that locked onto the spacecraft and he didn't know what it was? Have you seen any of that?
No, I haven't seen that.
I gotta send you the links.
Guess what? No fucking shit.
Oh man, and they have this new show on Netflix. If you guys want to check it out, and you should check it out, because we're gonna do a UFO episode. I'm getting that ready. I'm gonna get that organized. Episode 5, Netflix, Unsolved Mysteries. They brought it back without the old host. Remember him, Robert Stagg, the old school guy. He had the trench coat. Yeah, he had the trench coat. Robert, what's his name? Really good actor.
Robert Stagg. Something I don't remember.
Episode 5, man.
Hollywood dudes.
Episode 5, great abduction story, or not even abduction, just, there was a couple of people back in 1969 that saw a UFO, or some of them experienced more than that. And they were in different parts of Massachusetts, and they all saw it at the same time. And different people had it, and nobody talked about it till later on. And they had some of the same things: lost memory, They wait. They don't know where the time went. The car kind of stopped. They wake up
Well,
driving.
we gotta
You
fill
got
in
to
the
watch.
story.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get the data together with that one because that's been a mind wipe. And
Yeah,
we got nothing to lose because we're pretty much undercover. So I don't care if people believe me or not. But yeah, we got a doozy one, and it's the same thing. Some people remember more, some people don't. It's so spooky. Anyone out
sure.
there watch that episode 5?
I'm gonna watch it.
You should.
Definitely watch it.
There's 3 families, and the first one's the one that spooked me out. The
Mhm.
old lady, she's like 80 years old, and she said, same thing, just to give you a little glimpse at it when you watch it. Bunch of little lights. Everybody says it's different, but it's almost the same. Looked
Sure.
up, everything's dark, goes away, comes back, looked up, layers and layers. It's so spooky. It's
Mm.
yeah. Anyone out there should watch that episode. Of course, a lot of debunkers would say, "Where's the video? Where's the photos?" Well, Google the Navy pilot man who actually locked into one using modern weapons about a couple of months ago. Have you seen that video? The guy,
No.
you should watch it because that's why the government can't really hide it anymore. He's got it locked in infrared. He switches to old logistics. The guy's the top pilot.
Yeah.
Has never ever had anything on his record. He's not crazy. He doesn't even believe in UFOs, but he tells it straight up. You tell me what it is, because I'm not gonna go crazy. He's kind of saying that's what it is. Tell me what it is. Nobody can say this thing goes up, goes down, goes left, goes right. It's not a light. It's not a meteor.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I'll send you the links later.
I've had experiences in the past.
Oh yeah.
You have as well.
Oh yeah.
Um, aside from the vessel that we saw,
It was a vessel.
it was a vessel.
Yes, it
The
was.
one we saw in a undisclosed part of Florida,
You might as well tell him alligator.
Alligator Alley.
Because let me tell you, man, that place is
And
spooky.
if you've ever been through Alligator Alley at night, you know that there's not one shred of light over there. Nothing for miles before
Not
you
when we
eventually.
saw it, which was a couple of
No,
years back. You know.
eventually you break out of there, you'll get to see some light, but it's a good stretch of miles. It's probably I'd say a good 30, 40 miles of no light.
Yeah,
But aside from that one, I've also seen the one you're just talking about. I've experienced different things. I've experienced the UFO that moves with no directional control or purpose. In other words, it just move. It could basically move as like you're looking at a fly moving. You
right,
know, a fly never
right,
really
right.
moves in any specific way. It just moves however it wants to, and that's I've seen an aircraft, an UFO that has that specific kind of movement. So when you said that just now, messed with me because I remember
You should
and
watch that
exactly what,
episode.
and I saw it in broad daylight.
Right.
And I've also had other experiences that are similar in terms of, you know, definitely unidentifiable, uh, you know, encounters of the third
Right.
kind of the situation. Bottom line is this: we would be foolish to think we're the only people in the universe.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that we're the only beings that are human-like. I don't know. I probably not either. Uh, the cosmos is infinite. You know, so you know, there's a theory that runs along. I read this theory actually years ago about how that there's been dealings with aliens for a long time. You know, the Roswell incident was the big one that nobody could really cover up. But through the Roswell incident, and the reason it's so big is there's so many people really got a chance to see the aircraft. You know, because
Right.
when you see the vessels or you see the UFOs, it's usually in a very random situation, right? Somebody
Right.
saw it here, somebody saw it there. You know, it's sort of like it's kind of like it's almost like the Sasquatch sighting, you know, like the whole Yeti, that thing, like somebody did see it, but you can never really prove it. What sets Roswell apart, though, is that it was so massive, and an entire town saw it.
Right, right.
So it's something where, you know, you could always disprove the one person, the sort of the crazy guy that walks into the bar and says, "Hey, everybody, I just saw this." Everybody says, "Ah, you're crazy." Everybody can just sort of discredit that kind of person. You can't discredit, you know, a population of, at the time, maybe is over 300, 400, you know, plus people that saw the same thing.
Right, right. Yeah, it to me it's very strange. I'm gonna get the data that I have if I can look back at it, and we're gonna do a whole show based on what we saw. I'm sure you've had your other experiences, but
Yeah.
that experience for me has been that's it. That's all I got. I mean, I've never really kept looking for it. If I ever see some kind of weird, you know, I mean, so many people have seen vessels in the sky and things that are crazy and that they can't explain, but you definitely, you know, we're definitely going to do a whole episode on the experience we
But
had.
let me tell you something though, that I was getting out with the story that I was saying just now. They say that based on the Roswell incident,
Mm,
there was a group of scientists, right? They
right,
worked together, and they got a lot of information. They made a breakthrough. In the breakthrough, they actually communicated with one of the beings. The
right,
majority of the beings that were in the vessel, the UFO, they actually had died because it was a crash. In fact, it
right,
was a crash. But one of the things that strikes me, and I've always thought about this, was, if you notice, there was a very big leap
technology.
in technology.
Yeah,
From the 80s, our feeble attempt of trying to you know, start and get involved with technology, and, like, you know, actually start sort of gearing towards this new era, right?
right,
But then there comes a moment where all of a sudden something changes. Now we see things that are unimaginable. It's almost like we took a leap. Literally, we went into the future in just 10 years in the future.
right.
So a lot of the theories that come is that, based on the Roswell incident, there was an exchange
Right.
of information between the technologies and that were granted by the aliens, and an exchange of us helping them in return.
Right.
And
I
there was
mean,
3D involved. Now, this is stuff I've read, speculative. None of this means, oh, yeah, this is true. This is what happened. But I do believe, I'm a firm believer that part of the technology that we had that boosted us into where we are today was alien technology.
yeah. Have you ever heard of Bob Lazar?
Yes.
Okay, that there's a documentary. I don't know if you can see it on Netflix, and the guy doesn't
Guy
complete.
knows a lot.
Yeah, he pretty much said that he worked on one of them, that he was kind of kept out. A lot of people have tried to debunk him, but his knowledge is too spooky,
On point.
on point. And I think he did. I don't know the name
He
of.
wrote several. I think he wrote several things that way before their time, that prove the technology we're using today.
Well, he was a whistleblower in Area 51, and he tried to explain the alien tech that he worked with and whatever it was. They tried to shut him up, and he tried to reverse engineer some of the
Right.
things that they had, and they were all separate. He didn't really always knew what he was looking at. It's absolutely crazy, like what he
There's a
talks
good
about.
documentary on Netflix on him.
Yeah, it's Area 51 and Flying Saucers. Bob Lazar, I think it's called,
Yeah.
and
Look that up.
that is a really spooky one. It is very spooky. I mean, I'll tell you that. But yeah, we're gonna get into this more and try to get out of the politics because this ain't gonna go nowhere. This is not gonna get any better. I don't see anyone with solutions, and I just think it's gonna be a battle between politicians And people are probably going to vote for Biden because at the end of the game, I see now that politics means if you can make your other opponent seem worse than you, somebody will vote for you. And I'll tell you what, it's a game. It's a game. And we're probably gonna leave it here for now. And we're gonna close this out. What do you have any closing statements, Leche and Mona?
Well, we went all around the orbit today.
We did,
so
like always.
It's going to take you. Right. And I guess my last final thoughts is, we focus on the small problems. We focus on, the immediate problems. We focus on all these things that are happening on the day-to-day. But it just goes to show you how, with time, things like the Roswell incident, things like these sightings, things like the assassination of Kennedy, things like, the death of Epstein, all these things that are unsolved mysteries, they play a bigger part in what's actually been going on in our world for a very long time. So yeah, my last thoughts to our audience is start asking the big questions.
It's a great final statement. I'm gonna let you guys go with this theory. How about if we're really in a simulation and these things that actually we call aliens are able to stop space-time? That means pause the video game or the simulation. Different gamers look like different aliens. Maybe they look like the Greys. Maybe they look like the other kind. They're actually different programmers. They're resetting it. They're observing us. They're experimenting to see how the simulation's going to go. And on that, we'll see you next time.
You are in the Nexus Wormhole.
You are in the Nexus Wormhole with your host, Sonic Rascal.